All right, good afternoon. How is everyone doing today? Good? Welcome to Introduction to CDC Plus. This is the English version. I know a couple of you tried to come to our Spanish version early and were surprised. Yeah? But hopefully all of those folks made it back to this one. If not, hopefully they'll be here soon. My name is Mindy Whitehead. I am the Bureau Chief of the Consumer Directed Care Plus program, which is what CDC Plus stands for, if you didn't know. Oh, yes, absolutely. No, don't be sorry. What do you need? Just the one? Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think you can stand behind the podium.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be closer.
This is Lydia Bustillo, and she is our training and outreach coordinator. She is the trainer for CDC Plus.
Hi.
Okay, so real quick before we get started here, I'm going to turn this over to Lydia and let her run the session because she's the trainer. But before we do that, I want to make sure we know who everyone is in this room. So could you all do me a favor and on the count of 3 tell me your name? All right? 1, 2, 3.
Lydia.
Got it. Good to meet you all. Lydia and I are your new friends, right? We're all challenged to make friends this weekend. So we're your new friends. Don't be afraid to ask us questions. If anyone still needs a folder, I will pass them around as Lydia starts. All right? And I'll stand by the door to make sure people get them as they come in.
If you have any seats available next to you, just raise your hand for the new people that are coming in. There's seat here.
One here. We've got 2 over here in front and back of each other.
We're going to be very cozy today.
Yeah.
Pretty
The
packed.
last session I was in was really cold, so this will be a nice change. We'll get a little body heat in here.
Yeah.
No one will be cold by the end of this session. No, not at all. All right, so I'm going to make sure these folks have it. And Lydia, I'm going to let you go ahead.
Okay, sure.
All right, let me know what you need.
Okay. So welcome everyone. I am very happy that you took this time and very appreciative for your time. So we have 1 hour to cover all this information and to maybe answer some questions that you may have about the program. We are not going to go into specific details about do I have anyone that's currently on CDC? Okay. So do I have anyone that's on the waiver right now? Anybody that's on the wait list? The wait list for APD? Okay. So to be part of CDC, you do have to be enrolled in the waiver. And I'm going to go into more detail through the whole presentation. But if you have questions, my folks that are in CDC, we do have another session. Mindy, what time is that? You got the power session?
The next session, this one ends at 3:30.
3:30.
Starts at 4 right next door.
Okay, so you have half an hour to run, grab something to drink, go to the restroom, and then we'll meet you at the next room. I think that's Celebration 3 at 4. So you can ask those questions there because that's specifically for people that are already enrolled in the program. Today, in this session, we're going to talk more about if you have concerns, if you have questions about enrolling in the program, and maybe clarifying what CDC is, what it is. Because some people still don't know what it is. Is it something separate than APD? Is it, run separately? And hopefully I get to clarify that for you. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to stand on this side. I don't know where the clicker is. The clicker works on this side. Oh, it does. Let's start with some introductions. You met Mindy. She is the Chief Director of the program. CDC has 2 different areas, 2 different departments. Mindy she used to be our trainer. She's very knowledgeable in the program, and she very approachable, as you saw. She's very approachable. You can contact her, and she will answer to you. Megan is our program administrator, so she oversees the program side of CDC. We do have the financial, the physical agent, or the financial side to CDC, and you will see later on how, what we do in each one of those departments. And myself, Lydia Busia, I'm the Training and Outreach Coordinator for the program. I do train the whole state. I do it via Skype, so we meet in, through a Skype or WebEx session, and you can see me. You can ask your questions during the trainings. You get the answer live. I do give the new representative training. That's a 4-hour training. And I also give a purchasing plan training, how to write your purchasing plan, which we write a purchasing plan live. So I take an example and we go page by page, and I explain what the acronyms are, because that's very confusing. We like speaking in acronyms, and sorry about that. So I do explain every single section of that purchasing plan so you have a better understanding when you sit down and write your own. And I also give the how to reconcile your account. Reconciliation is part of the process in CDC. You do have to reconcile your account monthly. And what reconciliation is basically is balancing your account, because you will be getting a monthly statement telling you how much money you have left for the month and what was your expenditures and what were your deposits. So you will be able to see all of that. But you might have submitted something that is not reflected on that monthly statement. So you do need to balance your account to make sure that you're not overspending, that you know exactly how much money you have available to purchase. It's the same as going to the bank and seeing $1,000 available, and you can't spend it because half an hour ago you wrote a check for $500. So it's not really available. For that reason, you do have to reconcile monthly, and I give a 2-hour training on that. So that's, to me, it's a surprise that that's the least attended training, and it's the most problems that we see people are encountering, like not reconciling their account, overspending, not knowing how much they have, and it's really important that you do. So if you want to sign up for that, we can go through the packet, make sure that everybody has everything in the packet. So you can follow along with the slides. You can make your own notes on the side for each one of those slides. We have some important resources for you. These are on our website, but we printed them out for you. Those links, you might type them wrong. So if you can't access one of those, they're on our website as well. In the back, what else do we have here? And we have the peer support group meeting information, which we're going to talk about later on as well. We also included the training calendar for the next 3 months. Some really cool information about what is CDC. If after today you want to, still have questions, you can read over this information, and maybe we'll, clarify the questions that you may still have. And the calendar, I think, is right on the back of that. Even if you're on the fence about joining CDC or not, you can still sign up for the new representative training and learn more about the program. And after that training, if you decide to join, then you can take the readiness review test and get your certification to be the representative. So it's a 4-hour training. I do try to give a Saturday training like every 3 months for the folks that work during the week and cannot attend one of the week trainings. And I also try to do that with the purchasing plan and the reconciliation trainings, giving them in the afternoons, like 6 to 8 or 5 to 7, for the same reason, so that you all can make it to one of those trainings. So take a look at the calendar. In the back, you're going to see the description for each one of those trainings that we give. And it will tell you how long the training is, who should be taking it. So take a look at the descriptions and then select the one that you want to attend. And then we tell you on the bottom how to register for them. Okay? So as I go along, you can, identify which ones you want to take and register for those. I put my business cards in the back, so they're right in the back. As you head out, if you want to grab one of those business cards, it has my cell phone, my email. I recommend to send me an email if you try to contact me via cell phone, because sometimes I'm in these trainings for 5 hours and I cannot answer your phone call at the moment. So if you send me an email, I'll reply to it, when I'm done. My work hours are not, 8 to 5, I work on Saturdays, I work in the afternoons, so I'm not necessarily in the office, 8 to 5, but I can reply to those emails. So please grab one of those and, shoot me an email, let me know what your questions are. I can reply with links and information, She can pass them around too. So that is the most effective way, through email, because of the reasons that I just explained. I'm just, not able to answer at the moment if I'm giving a presentation, but I'm always available through the email. And then we can set up a meeting. If you want to speak on the phone, we can set up a meeting that's convenient to both, and then we can have that one-to-one chat, okay? We're going to go over the description of the program, the different people that are involved in the program, the team, the CDC team. I think, do I have the intro, Mindy? Yes, okay. Because I don't think I included the updates though.
Which one?
Is this you got the power?
That's the next.
Yes, I think, yeah, we can go along with this one. Okay, so, we're going to give you some more information about the program. I'm going to show you a quick video that we created that's going to explain briefly what we're going to be talking about. But it's really cool, and maybe you understand it, this way, and then we're going to go into detail of what it's talking about, okay? So let me just exit out.
The Consumer Directed Care Plus is a long-term care program alternative to the developmental disabilities, home and community-based services of the Medicaid Waiver. It is a participant-driven program, which means that the participant is expected to be involved in all aspects of planning their own supports and services. They choose being purchased.
Sorry.
Who provides
happened
these
there?
supports and services? When the
Guys, I was frozen. You didn't tell me. Okay. Let me see how I can fix this really quick. When did it freeze? When I moved the volume up, or before?
will be provided in the fund.
Completely?
I think so.
Let me exit out of this section. Okay. Yeah, this is where I like it.
Provided.
Apologize for that.
The Consumer Directed Care Plus is a long-term care program alternative to the developmental disabilities, home and community-based services of the Medicaid Waiver. It is a participant-driven program. This means that the participant is expected to be involved in all aspects of planning their own supports and services. They choose what is being purchased, who provides these supports and services, when they will be provided and the quantity, where they will be provided, and how the supports and services will be provided. The participant's monthly budget is based on the pre-approved cost of services in the waiver cost plan. A discount and administrative fee are subtracted from the total. With CDC, the participant exchanges the total budget of the current approved Medicaid waiver cost plan for a smaller budget that has more flexibility. To be eligible, the participant must be a current consumer under the Medicaid waiver program, live in the family home or their own home, select a representative if one is needed, complete CDC training, pass the readiness review test with a score of 85 or better, select a waiver support coordinator trained to provide CDC consultant services. How to know if CDC is right for you? Are you receiving services through APD's Medicaid waiver? Do you want to hire and direct your own workers? Do you want more choices and control over your services? Are you willing to spend the time and effort needed to control your services and your paperwork? If you answer yes to any of these questions, CDC might be a good fit for you. To learn more or to apply, check out the welcome packet at apdcares.org/CDC+/.
Okay. Whoops, I don't want that one to play.
Pause it now.
How do I pause it? Okay. Cancel. Freaking out.
There is something.
No? Okay. Whew. All right. So, so we are going to go over all those, that information that we just saw in that video. But let's start with the history of CDC. It's really not that old. It began in the year 2000, and as you see, we started a demonstration phase with a group of people, testing it out and see if it was going to work out, and it became a permanent solution for people on the waiver on 2008. As of last week, we had 3,400 people enrolled in the program, give or take a few. We do enroll about 35 families. Yes. Oh, sure. We had a microphone earlier. Oh, let me see. Maybe I can use this. It's on the stand.
You can take it off. It's not
Yeah. Let me see if they left another one. They left another one here. Test. Nope. It will work if I turn it on. All right, guys. So we do enroll about 35 families a month in the program. So we are in need of new consultants. So if you're happy with your consultant, you will need, or with your waiver support coordinator, you will need to select a consultant when you move to CDC. And if you're happy with your current WC, then ask them if they're willing to take the trainings and get the certification to become a consultant. Okay. So what is CDC? We're basically an alternative way that you can purchase your services. And if you're on the waiver, you have some limitations as far as who you can hire or how many units you can purchase a month of a service. There are certain limitations that you have. When you move your funds into the CDC program, those limitations go away for the exception of the restricted services, which is a little bit more complicated that you will learn as you become a representative. But you will have more freedom of, who you want to hire. You can decide all those different areas of your service. And it's based on the principles of self-determination, which it means that the consumer is the one that decides what services that he wants to buy, who he wants to provide those services. It could be family members, it could be friends, it could be people out of the waiver roster. So you decide who you want to provide that service. And it's person-centered, so everything revolves around the consumer. We do have consumers that are managing this program on their own. They don't need a representative. And that's very, gives us hope to the new, people that are joining the program, the new representatives, to think, consumers are doing this. They're managing the program, and it gives them also this sense of, empowerment. And they feel like they're more independent, and that's exactly why CDC exists. There was, also many stakeholder meetings around the state when it first began, where parents said, give us more control and we can find the service for cheaper. And that's how, Medicaid decided to, okay, we're gonna let CDC start. And, but everything is always centered around the consumer. So the main focus, many people when they hear about CDC, they've, some of the things that you might have heard is like, you can hire family members, you can hire friends, and many people, reach out to us to get more information about that. And yes, it is one of the best benefits that you can get from the program. But the main focus of the program is to increase the value value or increase the performance of the service that that person is receiving. Let me explain myself. Let's say we have Johnny. Johnny is in the waiver, and he's receiving in-home supports. So he's receiving this from an agency, from the waiver roster. And Johnny's known to have behavioral issues, but he's happy with his current, provider under that agency. All of a sudden, the provider leaves, and then the agency starts sending new people. Johnny doesn't like it. He doesn't want new people in his house. He starts having those behavioral episodes again, issues, and something needs to be done. They can't find any other provider that he can work with. Then Johnny might have a cousin that's available, and they can come and do the same service for Johnny. She knows his situation. They get along well, but the only thing is that she will have to get paid, because otherwise, she will have to find other ways to, earn a living. So in that scenario, that would be the perfect scenario for Johnny to join CDC. His service will be better because he's going to have somebody that cares for him, that's there, that knows his tics, and they know, that person knows how to deal with Johnny. And that's what you need to think about, is CDC is right for me. Do I meet all the criteria? But besides all the criteria, is it going to really work for me? There is another scenario that Mindy was talking about yesterday about the gym. I really like that one, and about a client. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I can. Can everyone hear me from back here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay. So yesterday I gave a scenario when I first started working with CDC Plus when I was still in the region. CDC was it was way back before the waiver services changed, and excellent. Thank you, Lydia.
Pass the mic, works every time. All right, so this was back when respite was actually available to everyone on the waiver. It wasn't just an under 21 service. There were also other services, and the service array was just different. It was before iBudget. And the individual, he was in his 30s, he lived independently, and the only service he qualified for CDC, for the waiver, was respite. He lived independently, he didn't need respite. But it was the only service that they were like, well, that's what we have for you. He was, like I said, he was 30, he had cerebral palsy, and what he wanted was something to help him continue to move, because his muscles were getting tight, he was getting older, those contractures, were just tightening up his muscles a little bit more than, he was starting to have difficulty walking, starting to have difficulty, feeding himself, those kinds of things. So what he did was he came on CDC Plus, he converted 100% of his dollars over to a gym membership and a personal trainer. And that gym membership and the personal trainer, they worked with him, and he's still able to walk and do everything today. It allowed him to keep his range of motion. And that was what was appropriate for him. There weren't really a lot of services he needed, but he needed a little bit of help. And he was able to, on CDC Plus, completely tailor his services to meet his need, right? The waiver's great, but not everyone fits into what the waiver offers. And I need to get rid of this microphone because I need to get off the soapbox and let Lydia keep talking to you guys. There you go, ma'am.
Thank you. I just wanted her to share that, because that's a client that we had in the waiver, and then moved to CDC. And I like to see the different scenarios and the different reasons why people join the CDC program. And it's a great option that you have. Okay, and so the focus of the program is to better that service that person is receiving, and it's also making sure that they can achieve their goals and needs. That those ones that you wrote on the support plan, the support plan meeting that you have with your waiver support coordinator every year, there is a section that states your goals and your needs. And we want to make sure in CDC that every purchase that you make you're fulfilling those needs and those goals. And that's what you basically need to prove to us. We're not approving additional services. We're not approving additional money. We're approving the way that you're purchasing your services, because it's a creative way, right? It's a different way that you're doing it. So this is it's the self-determination and person-centered planning. You will be in control of your own services. For that reason, you will have more authority. You need to put the hat of being an employer now. So you will be hiring your own providers,
And you need to start thinking like an employer. You know, when I hire this person needs to be background screened. This person, can I trust this person? Can they be trusted with the schedule that I need? You know, you have to start thinking about all these aspects with, this different areas when you hire someone. So you need to, put that hat on and start acting as an employer when you are part of the CDC program. And you can, for that reason, you will have more responsibilities. Some people that are in the waiver, I heard someone earlier in the session that we had this morning. She says she feels blinded. She's on the waiver, but she doesn't know how she gets the money. She doesn't know how services are requested. And that has to change once you move to CDC, because the whole purpose is giving you more control of those services. And the whole purpose is for you to be able to manage them. So if that is something that you want to be more in control, you want to have more knowledge, but that will take more responsibility from your part, doing more paperwork, basically, and organizing those services. And you may ask, what can I control over those services? You can control what services you can purchase. Like Mindy stated, this person was receiving another service through the waiver, and they just purchased gym membership through CDC with the same funds. That's what you're doing. You're moving your funds from the waiver into CDC. So you get to decide what services best fit those needs that you have, and who will be providing those services, when, where, and how. When you're in the waiver and you hire an agency, you pretty much have to go with the flow with their work hours, where they want to provide the service. When you move to CDC, if you need the person to be at 7 a.m. at your home, they have to sign a job description that states that they have to be at 7 a.m. Well, if you hire an agency from the waiver, they tell you, no, we can't work before 8, so what do you do between 7 and 8? There's different areas that you need to think about and what your needs are. We can see the waiver side on this slide, and we're going to compare it to the CDC program. On the left side, we see how the iBudget, the different services that are available through the iBudget or the waiver. And we see the different types of services that you can, these are just a few of the services that you can purchase through CDC. Seasonal camps, gym membership, advertising. If you're having really hard time finding a nurse in your area, you can advertise for it. You can use your savings money and pay for that advertisement. Over-the-counter medication. There's different things that you can save up for and purchase them through CDC. And these are things that are not available through the waiver.
Or do you want us to wait? Can we ask a question?
Go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead.
I'm trying to understand the what part of it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I just want to be clear on. Like, I'm going back to what she said. If I'm told that my other son is not here, he's quadriplegic, cerebral palsy. Huh? And he's on it. If they're, like, right now, yeah, that's the biggest thing I hear is, oh, he's got respite. Well, my wife and I don't need the respite. If I want to do something like what she did and change it to a gym, is there, I hate to use the term a battle, is there a battle to get it on this? Or is it basically, I have the amount that's there and I just submit for it and I get it? Or is there, you know what I'm saying, is there that long, like every time I want something, it's a year, 2 years?
No, you already have the money
Right.
for that service that you're getting through the waiver. What you're doing is moving that money into CDC to then have the freedom that you need to then purchase the service that you want.
So I don't have to prove,
You do have to justify the purchase through CDC. Like I mentioned earlier, we would not be reviewing for new services. We would not be reviewing for, increasing your money on your budget. What we review in CDC is we look at how you're planning to use that money and if it's justifiable or not. Because if we look at the support plan and we don't see the relationship to the new service that you're trying to purchase through CDC, then we will say, we can't, grant you this purchase.
Support plan then would have to be redone.
It has to, yes, the support plan has to reflect your current needs and goals.
Okay.
Yes, that's very important.
Now I understand. Okay.
Yes.
I guess to expand on this question,
Mhm.
it has to be a medically necessary service, even if it sounds like a gym membership. That seems more like leisure.
That's what threw
That
me off,
has
is
to,
how
the
we-
medical necessity has to be reviewed through the waiver. So if you do want more services or more funds, you have to put in a SANS request, which is a significant additional needs request, and that has to be done through the waiver side. So they're the ones that give you the services and the main services from the waiver and the funds for those services.
Because my other son, once he hits that age, he'll be out of the school system in 22, and we would be probably looking at some at-home nursing care.
Mhm.
So would I have to get then his goal to be written according to that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're going to request that main service, you're gonna request it through the waiver, so that they can give you the money. Once you have the funds for that service, you can move it to CDC and then hire the nurse that you want to hire. See the relationship?
Okay, but you still have to request it through APD, right, or the
Through the
waiver?
waiver, yes,
Okay.
to obtain the money that you need for that service.
Again,
Not here.
so basically, the support plan would have to somehow support these services, and who creates the support plan now?
You sit down with your waiver support coordinator once a year and write that support plan. So take a look at your support plan and make sure that it does reflect your current needs and goals, because every request that you put in, even through the waiver, they're going to, that's like the core. They're going back to that support plan and seeing if you really need it. That's their base.
Right, because I know there's things we feel are necessary, but
Mhm.
they say no, but I see what you're saying, okay.
Yeah, sit down with your waiver support coordinator and talk about your needs, and then they will tell you what services are available through the waiver for those needs. Once you have the funds, you can move those funds to CDC and then purchase, more creatively.
That's helpful.
Yes.
Those things like transportation to work also,
Mhm.
could that be something that they pay for?
Transportation, the waiver does give some funds for transportation. How are we doing with transportation, Mindy, or Megan? By the way, this is Megan Kirkley. She wasn't in the room, but I presented you earlier.
Like Lydia was saying, anything has to be justified, just as on the waiver,
Mhm.
we have the hierarchy of resources, so if another resource will fund it, we won't. So a lot of times with transportation, if it is to and from work, if VR says, no, we're not gonna fund that type of transportation, we could look into, can we fund it? So it's all situational, so I can't say yes or no, we have to kind of review the whole thing.
It's
And what
very.
Lydia was saying with the support plan too, just to kind of clarify, your waiver support coordinator can update your support plan at any time. So when you have, if anything changes, you contact your support plan, say, I had this life change, I want it reflected in my support plan.
Okay.
They can update it
Well,
at any time, it doesn't have to be just 1 year.
They did that for my son. He was going to ARC, but they didn't have enough money for transportation. And to cover ARC, so the waiver.
Yeah, the waiver is, we have a good support, coordinator, really has it. He was able to request additional funds so that he used the transportation to and from the and the program for him to go. Now, we kept him home this week because we're here, so that just
This is
keeps extra
good enough.
funds in there for something else.
Okay. But this is,
Let's go to her.
Yeah, I was seeing, the screen there was saying that we could reduce funds with CDC, because when you're transferring out, the question is, someone moves, from, the waiver to CDC, and later on they decide, could they later on go back to the waiver, or
Yes.
want to make that decision?
No, you can move back to the waiver at any time.
Okay.
Let's say the reason why you moved to CDC is because you wanted to hire a specific person, and then that person moves away, you don't need CDC anymore, then you can request to be put back on the waiver.
Because it said 8% plus 4%, 4%
Yes.
reduction, what did that mean?
We're gonna cover that in a couple slides down the road, but yes, CDC is it has a discounted rate. It's 92% of your funds would have to be used for your services in the CDC program. 8% stays at Medicaid from your funds, and 4% is for administrative fees. Like it's no more than 160 a year. So there is a discounted fee. But with that being said, any funds that you don't have, currently on the waiver, at the end of the fiscal year, if you don't use your funds, if you have any remaining balance, all that money wipes away. And then you start the new year with a new budget, correct? With the CDC program, you get to roll over any unspent funds and put it into savings. So it does compensate for that percentage that stays at Medicaid. And we will, the administration fees also, we have the financial side of CDC, which is the one that does all the IRS reporting for you, and we do manage all of the finances in part, as far as payments, paying all your providers. All you have to do is make sure that you
submit your timesheets, your invoices on time, and CDC sends the payments for those.
What do you mean by you can put it in savings if it's not used?
There is, there is two types of services that you can purchase in CDC. And this, we didn't include it because it goes into more in depth of, how you can purchase services. Yes, no, that's the training. If you want to join that 4-hour training, I go into all the details about how to purchase your services. But just briefly, I'm coming to you in a minute. So briefly, there's two types of services that you can purchase in CDC, and those are restricted and unrestricted. Restricted services are services that come from the waiver like that. They're name restricted. This is your nursing, your certified professionals mostly. Therapies, they come restricted, which means that all that, the funds that you have for that service, you have to purchase back into that service. Unrestricted are your respite, there's a list of 20 or 18 unrestricted services. In those services, you can move the money around. They're interchangeable, which means that you can take money from this, purchase your advertisements, purchase the gym, and save for future purchases.
Is that money only for services, or does it include like medical equipment, say like my daughter,
Yes.
like she
For
can
anything that you
benefit
want to save. I'm going to her.
Okay, couple of questions. Is there a,
Sorry, 1 second. Whoever needs a seat, there's 3-4 seats in the front. If you want to take a seat in the front, you're welcome to.
is there a limit to how long or how much you can save? And by saving, will that then question your need for the service money that you're getting and result in a lowered budget?
So you know that the money rolls over to the next year, correct? So Medicaid still comes and looks at your budget. And if they see $15,000 sitting there and you have no plans, no savings for it, then they might recoup this money. What you need to do is, any money that you have in your savings needs to be accounted for. I'm saving to go to summer camps in the summer. I'm saving to buy home modifications or a van lift, or, you have to be specific in your purchasing plan and let us know how you're planning to use those funds. So it does roll over, but you cannot just accumulate there for anything. You have to let us know what you're planning to do with those funds.
Is there a limit to how long you can save? Just because I'm thinking
No,
like modifications,
That's what
and
I was
that's really
thinking too.
costly. So depending on what the budget is, you might have to save for a while.
Yes. You let us know how long do you think it's going to take you, and you write all that down on the purchasing plan and let us know. If you submit a SANS, for example, and you don't have anything on your savings, and then the SANS reviewer from the waiver, the SANS is if you want to increase your funds, your budget. So if you submit a SANS and they look at your account in CDC and they see $10,000 and they don't see anything that you're planning to do with that, they're going to deny that SAN.
But if
So,
they see
because
you're trying
they-
to save for something, that's different. Okay.
If they see the $10,000, then they see that you're planning to do a big purchase, and that's why you have that money. Then, the reviewer will go ahead and continue the review.
Question, if you go over to CDC, okay, obviously, like my boys are on it, they're over 18, so they get SSI. The SSI only allows them no more than $2,000 worth of assets in anything. Are they going to look at that savings and say, oh, well, you got.
No, because that's money that you already had from the waiver.
It's
It's not like income or anything like that, no. It's money that you're just rolling over,
I
yes.
just wanted, because I could see them saying they were going to use
Yes.
SSI. and they use their
Work,
Medicaid.
and because of your work income, you had to set up an income trust in order to stay eligible for services. Will the CDC Plus program have any implications with the trust and actually the services?
Remember, we're not granting any more funds. So, yes, Mindy,
I was gonna say, it's waiver dollars,
yes.
and the waiver dollars, it doesn't change the fact that they're waiver dollars, so it's not gonna impact, they're not yours.
It's not.
They're public funds, and they're public funds that you've been awarded to pay for services.
Okay.
So even though you're an employer, even though it's your account and yours, it's still public funds.
It's not
So
like-
it's not gonna, matter for trusts, it's not gonna influence when they look at SSI or they're looking at any other public services.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go continue, and then we're gonna come back to your questions. So write them down on the slide if you want to write them down there, and then we're gonna do another round. But just to explain a little bit further on that, it's not like you can cash out this money, so it's not gonna affect your income or your benefits. Okay. Now for your providers, this is something different. For your providers, that paycheck does count as income. So if you're hiring mom and dad, or someone that's close to you, you need to make sure that they know that it's they have to account for it. And there is some more information about hiring providers. If you want to hear more about that, you can sign up for the training, and I'll explain all of that and how to do it on that training as well. To be eligible, you need to be enrolled on the waiver. So you need to have that fund already certified, already approved, so you can move those funds into the CDC program. You need to live in your own family home, supported living, but you cannot be in a group home, for example. You have to be in your own family home. And you need to select a certified consultant. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're happy with your waiver support coordinator, you can talk to them and see if they wish to become certified with the CDC program, and you can stay with that person. But if they say no thanks, then you have to call your APD office in the region, and they will give you a list of people that are available in your region to be the consultant. And I'm going to explain what they do in just a little bit, in case you're wondering, who's the consultant? Yes?
I'm gonna
The questions
pass
card?
the question cards
Yes.
out, so if we don't get to your question, you can write it down on one of these and leave it with us, okay?
And if you decide to join the CDC program, then the consumer would have to attend the trainings and get certified. If the consumer cannot do the, everything that he needs to do in the program, then he must select a representative to do that on his behalf, his or her behalf. So that person, whoever is going to be the representative or the consumer, if they decide to do it on their own, then they will need to take the trainings to become a representative. After taking the training, which is the 4-hour training, then you will take a readiness review test, which is about 25 questions. It's an open book. You can go back to the website and look for references. So don't stress about that. Don't let that put you off and say, oh, I don't want to take a test. It's a readiness review test. We'll give you 3 tries. After the first time that you take it, if you don't pass it, study a little bit more. Ask me questions if you have questions. Take it a second time, and if that second time you fail again, then call me or email me, and then I can set up a conference, and we can go over the ones that you missed, and then I can explain. Maybe you are confused with the answers, so don't stress about that, and just go ahead. If you feel like this is something that is going to benefit your family, go ahead and try for it. Register for that class and take that readiness review test. Okay, so this is what we're talking about the 92%, the 8% that stays on Medicaid is discounted rate that Medicaid applies to the budget, and then the 4% for administrative fees, but it's not more than $168 a year that gets taken out for administrative fees. And with that, you get the flexibility of purchasing the services that you want and hire the people that you want to hire. And I was going to mention something and it escaped my mind. So you will have a larger array of services that you can choose from when you move your funds to the CDC program. Now, quickly, let's just look at how everything, the flow of things. We have the support plan, which we mentioned is like the core of your services. That and the QSI, the questionnaire situational information. The QSI has to be redone every 3 years. It expires every 3 years. So look at your QSI, see if that reflects your current needs and goals. Look at your support plan. Make sure that that does reflect your current needs and goals. And then once you apply for the CDC program, then that arrow between the support plan and cost plan, that's your consultant building the cost plan. So he will be, or he or she will be building the cost plan for you and I budget. And then after that, the budget is created. So he will tell you, yes, it was approved for this much, you have the services. After that budget is approved, when you were in the waiver, that's all they needed to start hiring people.
your waiver support coordinator. They get the approval, and then they can send that service authorization once it's approved, and then next day you can have someone if that person was available. With the CDC program works a little bit different, because after you get the budget approved, you need to build a purchasing plan. So between the budget and purchasing plan, that's when you come on board and start building that purchasing plan as a representative. On the purchasing plan, you're going to tell us what services you want to purchase and who's going to be providing those services. When I say who, you need to include as well all the employee packets and all that information, the supporting documentation that you're going to need to submit with that purchasing plan. So supporting documentation for the purchases, employee packets, any additions to your services, that's when you do the purchasing plan. And the savings plan also is included in that. During my training, I go page by page and we film on, live, so you have a better idea on how they're done. But that has to be done by the representative, not the consultant. They can guide you through it. They can probably sit down with you on your first one, but that's really your responsibility as a representative. We do have some timelines. Every purchasing plan takes effect on the first day of any given month. So for that to happen, then you need to follow the guidelines, the timelines. So you will have until the 5th of the month. So what day is today? Today is the 8th? Yes, right? 8th. So we already missed the timeline as a representative, which means that if I submit a purchasing plan right now, it would not take effect on July 1st. It will be August 1st. So make sure that you have everything ready and have everything, put together so you can make the timelines, and then your purchasing plan gets, approved when it has to.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
So you're saying that we have to do this, they get the budget every month?
No, the purchasing plan, you do it until, and that stays into effect until you need to make a change to that purchasing plan. So you don't have to do one every month. You don't even have to do one every 6 months, or a year, as long as those dates that you put of purchases don't change. So, that stays into effect. But if you do have to extend a date of a purchase from a savings plan, then you just submit a purchasing plan update, and it has to be sent within this timeline. Anytime that you submit a purchasing plan, update or change, it has to be within this timelines. Then your consultant has until the 10th to send it to us in state office or to the region. And then if it goes to the region, then they have until the 20th. This is how the first page of the purchasing plan looks like. And, like I said, everything has to be done by you on this. It's about 6 pages long. It looks more intimidating than what it is, really. So I go, section by section, explaining everything on that training. We do have the training online if you want to take a look at it and see. Those are videos. We can, you can view those videos and then get more, information from those. Okay, so the CDC team starts with the participant, then you have the representative and consultant. And then we have also an APD office liaison. This is somebody from the waiver that has been trained with the CDC program in your region. So you may think, oh man, these people are in Tallahassee. When am I going to see them? Or, it's going to be so difficult. We have a team of people in your region that have been trained in the program. We meet with them every month, give them updates. It's constant communication with this team. So if you want to shoot them an email, meet them. Hey, I'm new to the CDC program. I'm going to be in your region. Introduce yourself. That would also be helpful. And we're going to go over their slide in just a minute. But the participant basically is the decision maker. They're the trainee, and they are the trainer. We don't give trainings in CDC for your providers. You're the employer. So you need to tell your employer how you want them to do the things that they need to do. We're not in your home, so we don't know what is it that you need to get done, So you do have to be involved in that aspect. They are the employer of record with the IRS. They are the ones that show up in the IRS as the employer. And they are the authorized signer and the manager of the program. The representative is the person that steps in and takes that responsibility if the consumer cannot do it on their own. We do have people that are managing their consumers that are managing the program on their own, and this gives us a lot of hope to people that are just joining the program. If they can do it, we can do it too. And it is also very rewarding to see them grow and be more independent that way. The representative cannot be a paid provider. So if mom is planning to work for the consumer, then she cannot be the representative as well. She needs to find, maybe dad can be the representative. But the same person that's going to be offering the position cannot also be the representative. It has to be two different people. And the consultant is basically a waiver support coordinator that has trained in the program to become a consultant. They are not making decisions on your behalf. You are the ones making the decisions of the services that you want to purchase. They can provide you with guidance, information. So the way that I like to, maybe explain this is, let's say on the waiver, you were in a car with your waiver support coordinator, and he was driving that car. So he was taking you, you told you can tell the WSC, I need to go to the doctor. So he would drive you to, maybe he would select what doctor he wants to take you to. So he was making all those decisions on your behalf and driving that car. On the CDC program, you're switching seats. So you're going to be on the driver's seat, and he's not stepping out. Many people have that misconception. He's not stepping out. He's on the passenger seat, guiding you through the process. And if you need directions, if you're going the wrong way, he can tell you you're not following up the guidelines, or and just listen to you. They have the background, experience on how to manage services, so their input is very valuable, but they're not the decision makers. Okay, that's you as the consumer representative. And they're also in charge of the Medicaid eligibility, making sure that it doesn't drop at any moment. And this is the regional liaison that I was talking about. This is an APD employee that's in your region. So call your regional office and find out who that person is and get in contact with them. Say hi. State office is divided into two areas. We have the program side and we have the fiscal agent side. Both sides, we're not a big group of people. Our team is fairly small compared to other teams. So, if you reach, we do have a customer service line, which I'm going to present at the end. And if you do have questions, you can reach out to us. Call that customer service line, and if the representative cannot answer that call, he will escalate it to somebody that can. Okay, so we will get you the answers that you need at any time. When you hire someone, you need to make sure that that person goes through the background screening. And you, as a representative, will need to enter all their information into the clearinghouse. And the clearinghouse will give you a list of people, places that person can go to get background screened.
Who pays for that? I was just wondering that.
That's a good question. So when you go and get employed by someone, most of the time it's the employer that pays for that. You can talk to your provider and see if, hey, this is how much it is. It's like $105. It varies to depend on the location.
On the vendor.
Yeah.
They're a minimum of I believe 75.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we've heard them. Unfortunately, we've heard some people get charged as much as 150.
Yes.
So
it depends on
the
the
variance.
region.
Depends on where you work and what provider.
So talk to your provider, and then maybe you can come into an agreement. Maybe if you want to renew with them, after a year, maybe the background screening is good for 5 years. And then if you want to renew, it's like half the price. It's like $40-some. If you renew the background screening within time. If you let it expire, then you have to do a whole new one. So
even a family member has to do this? Even if you want a family member?
Yes. If it's a provider, yes. Now, the representatives don't have to do the background screening. But if they're going to be listed as a provider, then they have to get background screening because they're listed as a provider. So anyone that has contact with that client, we want to make sure that person, is dependable. Yes.
So if the person already has a background screening, the representative, are they responsible for keeping an employee file and having the provider's background screening? And,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, as a representative, you have to send that background screening result with your purchasing plan when you're listing that person to be included.
Does the representative also need the background screening?
No, the representative doesn't have to get background screen unless you're listed as a backup provider or as a provider. You know, a backup, you could be listed as a backup provider, but it has to be listed as a natural support. It's because you're the representative, so you can't get paid. But you can be listed as a backup provider. Okay, so all the tools and information that you're going to need, all the forms, the welcome packet, all of that is on our website. If you go to the apdcares.org website, that's the main website for APD, we're right under waivers. So when you click on the waivers link over there, it's going to take you to our CDC webpage. And under the important links, you see the this one right here, training and education. That's where you go in to register, to see the classes. You know, you can find a purchasing plan class there. In, you know, the 4-hour training, you can see the slides there as well. So if that's something, you know, you can review those, and if you're interested, you can sign up for the class. So everything that you need is on that website. We do have the peer support group meetings in your area. These are people in your community that are part of CDC. It's very helpful to talk to them. They can give you their point of view. They can give you, you know, tips and ideas and references. So we included the list of those contacts on your packet, in your packet. So you can contact the chair of your region and then find out when they're meeting, because this is not directed by APD or CDC. These are parents, providers, you know, people that are involved in the CDC program. Okay, so any further questions?
Yeah, question.
Yes.
So CDC waiver list is, the waiting list is the same as the waiver for APD, right? I mean, you don't start with CDC unless you've already been approved with the waiver?
Correct, yes.
Is there some kind of, like, from what I got at that, they might create some services while you're in the waiting list?
That's dependent. If you have a crisis, they might help you during that crisis, but you're not really assigned a budget.
So you could not be able to?
No, you can't, no. Any other questions? Yes.
Do the consultants get paid?
The consultants get paid, yes. They get paid the same. Yes, to select a consultant, you need to call your APD regional office, and they will send you a list of people that are available in your area. And then you can interview them, okay? Don't just select someone. Call them up, interview them, see if you click, because they're going to be very helpful to you in the program. Yes, you can interview everyone on that list if you want, yes. Excuse me, sorry, I can't hear.
They have to be
What,
licensed.
the waiver support coordinators? Or the consultants?
Maybe you can ask people to stop talking so
Yes.
we can all hear you, because
Yes.
there's like 30 conversations.
Can we please, you know, I can't hear, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
For the
Yes.
ones that you do hire,
Mm-hmm.
do they have to be specifically licensed for your child? Or can you get that family member and pay that family
Yes.
member?
For, you know, it depends on the type of service that you're purchasing. So if if you're hiring a nurse, it has to be, you know, that person has to be certified.
My daughter has 24-hour nursing care right now, but
Yes.
I want more control,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to be able to hire somebody
Yes.
in-house.
So what I recommend you to do is, if you want to research our handbook, this is where you find it. It's right on the top, and it's right under Consumer Resources on the website. In the handbook, you can research all the services, and then see the qualifications, the limitations, you know, provider qualifications, and then that way you can see before you hire somebody if they fit those requirements.
Okay.
Yes.
So he has a support coordinator from ABD. Can that support coordinator be his consultant? Be a consultant?
Yes.
CDC program?
Well, you can talk to that person if you're happy with the WC, and if they agree to take the certification, they have to also attend a training. Then they can become a consultant and stay with you.
Some are.
But it's really their choice. If they don't want to become a consultant, they don't have to.
But he could ask, because ours happens
Yes.
to be, ours happens to be a consultant already. the one-
Yes, I'm coming to you in a minute. Yes. So go ahead.
My question is,
one question in the back.
Hello? Being a representative, that's, and that, okay, you're not like being a company. You know what I'm saying? Being responsible for handling those funds is not,
No, you don't have to become a company.
right. You
Yes,
don't have-
no.
Okay.
This could be mom, dad, the siblings, anyone. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Uh-huh.
So anyone that's available and that can, take that responsibility.
Okay.
The representative will be signing all the timesheets, invoices, they have to sign the purchasing plans, submit those paperwork, the paperwork.
And you said what is paid to, say, a neighbor is gonna want to do the rest report. The funds that go to that neighbor is, accredited to them as income. That
Yes.
report to the IRS.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So you mentioned representatives can't be providers, but they could be backup providers. Can you expand, explain?
Yes, this is very important. If you want to stick around for just a minute. So, in CDC, the type of services that you receive, you have to specify if the service is critical to you. What's critical to me might not be critical to you or to you. So, if, for example, ADT, if I don't go to ADT or the Adult Day Training Program, if I don't go there, I have to have someone stay home with me. So I need to have a backup provider for that service.
Right.
So if I put on my purchasing plan, if I specify that ADT is a critical service, then I need to enter 2 backup providers.
Okay.
Those providers have to be background screened.
Okay.
So you have to just analyze your services and see which ones are critical to you and which ones are not. Because not because it's on your cost plan, it means that it's critical.
Right.
And critical means, all it means is that if it's not offered, the health and safety of the consumer or family member will be put at risk. So you have to make sure that you do have someone that can cover, if that main person can't cover for that service.
If that main person that's covering happens to be like, for the individual, say the individual's sick, we'll say 5 times a year, and then 5 times a year, mom, who's the representative, is the one covering, doing the rest of it at home. And as long as mom has a background check and she, even though she's a representative, for example, those 5 times a year, she's at home, taking care of them, they're not at the table, can she be the backup provider?
Yes, she can be listed as a backup provider, but
Does
as,
she get paid for it?
no, as natural support.
Okay.
Yes, it's a conflict of interest, if you do the payroll, you pay yourself, it's just.
So there is no background,
The representative, yes.
The representative can't be the background provider.
Okay, let me explain.
Now, the representative is an uncompensated individual.
Right.
They can provide backup services as a natural support.
That's right.
The reason why they have to be background screened is because they are having direct contact. As a backup provider, they're having direct contact with that individual. So that's why background screening would be required for the rest, if they're going to provide as a natural support. If they don't want to provide as a natural support, they just want to strictly be the representative, then they would not be required to be background screened.
Basically, if you're listing your name on that purchasing plan, then you have to get background screened.
So you're saying the parent would have to be background screened if they're gonna help support the child?
If they are listed on the purchasing plan.
Listed as a provider.
As a backup, so if you're just gonna provide
not
natural
doing
support
that.
Because-
as a parent and you're not gonna be anywhere on that purchasing plan, you would not.
Why would I even wanna do that? Because it's there anyway, it's like implicit, I'm the mother, why would I even wanna put it on a
Yeah, why
Well,
would
then
I
you
have
wouldn't have to, no, you wouldn't have to, unless it's listed as a critical service.
Mhm.
Then I'd have to,
Then yes.
if I couldn't find another, I would.
Right,
Mhm.
so if you had, let's just say
Okay.
you have respite, and that's not, and you didn't list that as a critical service, but your provider didn't show up, well, you as mom, obviously now that they're not here, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of them. You would need to be background screened because you're not listed as an emergency backup, you're not on the purchasing plan, you're just doing it as a parent.
Okay, so if you, we have run out of time, but we do have the cards in the back. If you don't have any, just write down your questions there, and we'll be able to answer those individually. Okay, thank you for your time.